Happy day, Joy Starters. Hope y'all are having the most amazing day. I'm so glad to be back with you. I feel like I'm popping in this suit. I just put a post up on my Instagram. Like, this is one of those Amazon run. We will put it in the show notes and go get you like every color that you can. If you can only afford one, pick your favorite color. But it's that oversized suit trend that's going on, women's oversized suit. But that is not what the podcast is about today. I just got home from church and I have to tell you what happened at church. And I have to be, you know me, mask off, like completely vulnerable. That is the only way that I know to operate. Let's like to try that one there. Okay, so I don't have to hold it. Okay, because I like to talk with my hands. So we've been doing a walk down memory lane. We have done a ton of bits and pieces of some of my earliest talks. And it's been amazing. And some interviews that I've done and some other podcasts and things that I've done. And so I just wanted to come back in this episode and tell you this awesome story. So every so often at church, so let me back up. Let me give you the full story. Okay. So when I met my husband, this year is 9 years. When I met my husband, and I was down here and I met his kids, I said, let's go to church. Let's pick a non-denominational church. And so I looked online and we found a church called the Journey Church. And so we went. And there's a picture, actually my daughter made it side by side when we first started going, and then a couple of years later. And then like, I need to do one first started going a couple of years later, and now because these kids, they're all blonde hair and Nordic and tall, and they keep getting taller and I keep getting shorter. But this is how long we've been going to this church. And a few years ago, the pastors, Pastor Kara and Pastor Daryl, asked, and I'm modest, asked if I would be willing to be to serve and help them do announcements. And I said, absolutely. Then they asked me also if I would be willing to do the giving talk. And the giving talk is like 4 minutes where you focus on giving, but you tell a story and you share a story, you share scripture, and you encourage people to give. And it's our time of giving that's set aside. So I'm going to tell you the full story. I'm cracking my knuckles. Not really, but I'm trying. So they asked me to do that. And I just want to give you the full backstory here. And so I've gotten to do it every couple of months because we have more and more people that are serving and using their gifts, and they're so amazing. And every time somebody does a giving talk, I learn from them about what I want to do. I always keep a note in my phone, like something happens to me, I can use this for a giving talk. So I really take it seriously. So a couple of months ago, this is actually probably a year ago, you give the giving talk and you send it to the pastors, to the assistant pastors or to the pastors, and they kind of edit it, give you feedback, and then they help you along, and you craft it together, and then it's good. And so the main reason is to highlight giving and to encourage people to give and to glorify God. And so this is so funny. A couple of years ago, y'all, I'm a professional speaker. I'm a sacred space holder. A couple of years ago, we were going back and forth, and Abby from my church was helping me to craft my talk. And the devil had me in such a chokehold that I literally said, I literally emailed her and said, maybe this is not for me. Like, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe you need to ask somebody else. Like, I was so insecure in my gift, and it wasn't anything that they were doing. Just the devil was attacking me in my gift, right? And she's like, no, you're great. She was like, and she gave me some feedback. She's like, we want you to use more personal stories and, blah, blah, blah. So we worked through it. I apologized for having a freak out moment in my gift. And I exist to be vulnerable with you guys, because you might look at me and say, this is what she does. She doesn't get, insecure in what she does. Heck yes, I do. We all fight this in writing books, in speaking, in all of these things, man. I fight imposter syndrome. So if the first thing that I am teaching you today is to fight through that imposter syndrome, I almost gave up in being used at my church because I had imposter syndrome and did not feel like I was good enough to speak at my church. I was good enough to speak on the road, but I wasn't good enough to speak at my church. That's the first thing. And just to clarify, what I wanted all the direction in the world. Like I was asking for direction and asking for forgiveness, and she was giving it to me. She's amazing. My people are amazing there. It was me. I was having a freak out moment, and we all have them, right? We're human, okay? So I wanted you to understand like the background. So you don't just get up there and give it. You have to send it in. You send it in earlier in the week. You work on it together. It's very, it's serious. It's an honor to be able to do this. And so I got to do the giving talk today. And you go very early, and we do a meeting. We do a run through, which is so pivotal to do the run through. And then we do 2 services. And it's so pivotal to do that because you figure out, you get some of the, it's out. And then usually by the second service, it's even better than sometimes the first service, or sometimes the first service it just depends, right? But we do this run through. You do the first service, you do the second service, and it's just an opportunity to be able to serve at my church and serve in my gifts, in which, remember I taught you, I almost ran away from because I had imposter syndrome. So don't let imposter syndrome win. So this morning, and the gift or the message that I had prepared this week was about being, what is your heavenly job title? You ready for this? What is your heavenly job title? So years ago, the Lord said to me, Rachel, I made you a professional encourager. A professional encourager. You're not a speaker. You're not, I'm a sacred space holder, but he was like, so let me ask you this. What is your heavenly job title? What is your heavenly job title? I want you to make a list of your qualities, your great qualities. And of those, ask the Lord, what is my heavenly job title? Not I'm a manager at so-and-so, or I own a business, or I do this. That is your worldly job title. What is your heavenly job title? Okay. And so I asked people this, and I shared a story because I believe that God made me a professional encourager. And I shared a story of my friend Chris from Louisiana Lafayette that years ago, and actually we're gonna play the video right now. We're gonna play the giving talk. Okay, so I want you to watch that so you can hear it. And this was the second service, by the way, so it got even better. So watch this now. Welcome, y'all. Welcome. Yes, somebody's jacked to be here today. That's my kind of people. Welcome to the journey where we exist to love God, love people, and make disciples. And if today is your first time with us, we are so honored that you are here. And if you could take that welcome card that you received when you came in and fill out the bottom of that. In a moment, there'll be offering buckets that come by, and they'll pass, and you can put that card in there, fill out a prayer request. We love to pray alongside you. You can also text new to this number on the screen, and you can do the same thing digitally. So this is the time that we transition in our worship experience into giving. And I want to ask you an important question this morning. A couple of years ago, God was dealing with me, and he said, Rachel, I want to tell you your heavenly job title. Not the work that you do Monday through Friday, not the job that you clock into. I want to talk to you about your heavenly job title. And he said, you, Rachel, I sent you to this earth to be a professional encourager, to go back to speak to people when it may seem silly to others, when some people may not understand it, when they may not wonder if it's genuine, when you may look stupid. I sent you to do that. And so I want you today to marinate on this when you leave church today. Write down your absolute best qualities and then say, God, which of these are my heavenly job title? Not the job that I clock in and clock out every single day, but maybe you use this quality that you have at that job, but you have a heavenly job title. I'm convinced. And so mine being a professional encourager, we were doing something for Mother's Day out in the audience in the vestibule there. And I was talking about my mama who's in heaven. And my mom was also a professional encourager. And oftentimes I would go to Facebook to write something.
She's been in heaven 6 years, and she would have written it first, almost the same way that I wrote it, wanted to write it. She wrote it first. And I think about the work that I get to do. And a couple of years ago, I was speaking at a college in Louisiana, and a player waited after to speak to me, as they often do, and he said, Miss Rachel, he said, my father's been incarcerated most of my life. And he said, he's getting out soon, and he wants to have a relationship with me, but in all truthfulness, he's been a deadbeat dad. And I said, honey, and we both began to weep, and I said, honey, I said, my best guess is he's not just been imprisoned in a cinder block and metal. He's probably been imprisoned in his mind. He probably feels like a failure of a father and a failure of a human. And I said to this young man, I'm not asking you to be hunky-dory tomorrow with him, but I am encouraging, see the word? Using my gift, encouraging you to crack the door to reconciliation. And some months later, I got a text, because I build relationships when I do what I do. I just don't go speak. I got a text, and he said, Miss Rachel, I just want to let you know, me and my daddy went fishing. And I want to show you this picture. He just sent this to me. Look at this. He sent this to me out of the blue a couple of weeks ago. 4 years ago, the Lord placed you in my path, and something in me shifted. My heart learned how to forgive in a way that it never had before. Praise Jesus. Because I'm using my heavenly job title. So I want y'all to think about that. James 1:7 tells us every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. And y'all, we attend a church. We serve at a church that is a giver, that does missions around the world, that feeds thousands of people a week, more than any other entity in this area. And so, yes, clap for that. So when you use your heavenly job title to give, to have a spirit of giving, to have a giving heart, man, what can't we do with this church? Now let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just come before you today, and before we ask for anything, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for waking us up today. Thank you for another chance. God, I do ask, all of us collectively ask for rain for our neighbors to the north. Shift the winds, bring them rain. Bring rain to our neighbors in Florida. Lord, heal our nation, our divided nation. Let us be peacemakers. Let us be lovers. Let us be encouragers. Let us use our heavenly job title to glorify you on this planet. And may we do all things in your name. Amen.
Okay, so that was my giving talk this morning. And I just love keeping it real with you, because I believe when I keep it real with you, it allows you to keep it real with yourself and to keep it real with other people. So after the first service, the devil was again attacking me and making me feel like it was clunky. I didn't do it right. I didn't, hit all the points that I wanted to hit. I didn't accomplish. I was worried, like I'm an overthinker and I battle anxiety. And I was worried that Pastor Kara didn't like it, that there was, this is in my head. And a woman stops me after the service. Her name is Miss Sue. And she said, God sent Miss Sue to me. She said, I am also a professional encourager. She said the other day, there's some kids across the way that play basketball. And she said, one of these guys made it, kind of like a backward shot, just being funny. And she said, I happened to catch it on camera and it went in. And she was like, oh my gosh, that is so good. So she caught it on camera. She encouraged him. And she said, the guy responded to her encouragement. She said, as if he had not been encouraged. I don't know where else he gets his encouragement. He was soaking it up so much. Then she told me some family situations where she could have called out the reality of the situation, right? She could have called out the reality of the situation, but instead of calling out the reality of the situation, she called out God. She spoke God. She spoke words, edifying words that God would have used. It's the same way that I had a friend, this wasn't a friend actually, a colleague in sportscasting tell me one time, be careful who you're calling a king. And they said, you don't really know them. You don't know what they're doing off the field. You don't know. And I said, oh man, I said, you don't get it. You don't get it. I don't see them with earthly eyes. I see them for all their potential. I see them for all they're created to be. I see them for all their gifts. I see their heart. I see their soul. So I don't see them the way you see them. I see them in a way that I'm meant to encourage them, again, professional encourager, and call out greatness in them. And I kind of like mic dropped and walked away. And so anyway, yeah. And so we have this conversation, and she fills my cup. She encourages me right back. Where I'm over here doubting myself, she then encourages me right back. Okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, thank you, Sue. We made friends. We hugged. We cried. I said, listen, in that moment, you could have given him the world, but you chose to give him Jesus. Boom, mic drop. And I said, you don't know what greatness you called out of him. And so that, if that weren't enough, that's amazing. But in between services, I met Shane and Susan. And Shane said, again, thank you for that. And I said, what's your heavenly job title? And he said, I'm also an encourager. He said, I have been sober, and I lead AA. And he said, I lead groups. I'm about to start serving here in an area in need. And he said, God allows me to use my gift. And then Sandra was telling me she's a giver. And so again, God used these people to fill my cup when I was doubting myself and in my flesh. And so we go into the second service, and you saw what happened there. And I am on the way home, and I walk out, and I notice that we put up a backdrop with flowers, and we put it up for Easter for families to take pictures. And our Pastor Kara, I have to tell you two amazing things. Our pastor's wife, she's also our pastor. We had an all hands on deck meeting before, not the run through, but a second all hands on deck meeting for people who serve. And she was talking about how do we steward the gifts that we've been given? And we've been given the gift of this church. So if we see dirt, if we see something out of order, if we see something that needs to be done, we need to steward this gift well. And I was like, wow, like so good. And I wanted to pipe up and say it then, but I didn't. And I wanted to encourage, again, using my heavenly job title, I wanted to encourage her and tell her that the church leaving up this backdrop with in front of the church encourages families to take pictures well beyond Easter. So they walk out, this backdrop still up, it's beautiful, there's flowers out there, and encourages people to take pictures, to make memories, to say, hey, we were at church together, and take a picture. And so as I was walking out, I'm thanking Pastor Kara for the opportunity to serve. There's your next one, right? Like thanking her for the opportunity to serve. Wherever you're serving, have you thanked the entity, the person that's allowing you to serve? Like, are you as excited about picking up garbage as you are about whatever else you do to serve? Like, our pastor, the Pastor Daryl, posted the other day something about the guy who does like the lawn and does like the little things and the parking and things that we do that we don't see. And I put up underneath it, "Go Pete, go!" In all capital letters. And so I want to encourage you to encourage the people that wherever it is you get to serve, your church, your school, your small group, like wherever it is that you're serving, your soccer community. I have another girlfriend, Kat, whose daughter plays volleyball, and she loves it so much that she and her husband took over the volleyball club, and they're running the volleyball club now. And I'm like, wow, like, they're have excellence, and they're walking in excellence wherever they are. And that goes back to what Pastor Kara said, no matter, in sweetness. Walter Payton said this: I treat the janitor the same as I treat the president. People matter no matter what you do, because the reality is, and I'm rambling, but there's a point here. The reality is, if the janitor lets the bathroom get backed up, we got problems just as big as the president has problems, okay, for game day experience or whatever that may be. So everybody is important. And that's what my mom and grandma taught me. Everybody is important. And so on the way out, to circle it back, on the way out, I was able to use my gift to encourage Pastor Kara. I was able to push through my imposter syndrome this morning, and the devil trying to attack me to tell me that it sucked, that my message wasn't good in the first talk, and that it was I fumbled and I bumbled. And I'm so glad that even going back a year ago with Abby, that she pushed me to push through. I almost quit. I almost did not use my gifts at church, y'all, because of this. And let me tell you something else. If you're ever visiting the Yulee, Amelia Island area, please message me and come visit me at church. If you're going to visit, vacation Amelia Island, please, please, please come visit me. Come sit with me. We had one of our team, a gal that I just love. Her name is Gabby. And she lost her keys this morning. And Lord knows I've been there many times. And she's texting me right before church and texting a few other people. Well, I could not leave because I was about to do the giving talk at the very beginning. So I could not leave even though she lived close. She texted a few people and I was following up, y'all. Our pastor, Pastor Kara, our pastor went to get her. If that's not an example of what true servanthood looks like. She is the pastor's wife. She could have said, I'm too important. I'm too busy. I can't do this. I've got too much going on. The pastor's wife said, no, I'll go get her. No, I see value in you. You're amazing. I want you here and I'm going to come rescue you. And I just, in that moment, she was also like Jesus, just like Sue was like Jesus. She could have said, I'm too busy. And honestly, nobody would have really blamed the pastor's wife. It's the pastor's wife, right? But she did because my pastor, his wife, and his daughters, and they're all very, very involved, like running cameras, like on teams, like leading. She's not just sitting there; she's working, on Sunday mornings. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to her as the greatest example of servanthood. And she's also been like a bonus mom to me. As Mother's Day comes up, I miss my mom so much. I'm so grateful to all the women on this planet that mother me, that love me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So shout out to you, Pastor Kara. And the last thing I want to say on this podcast today is if you have been out of church because somebody hurt you, you have church hurt. And I want to say I respect you. I respect the pain that you're walking through. I am standing in the gap for the hurt that people caused you. And I deeply, deeply apologize for that. But I want to share the realness of people. And my pastor preached on church being a place for sick people, that we don't come to church acting like we have it all together. We come to church sharing what's happening with us, what's going on, what we're struggling with. He said, I don't care what you did last night, come to church online, get your butt in church if you can. It's the fellowship, man. It really, really matters. And when I miss, I like skip back there. I mean, I skip back there regardless, but especially when I'm out, like I miss it so much. And I had 2 or 3 conversations this morning where it was just apparent the realness of people. In our run through, we were talking about something and somebody asked, hey, do you have that prepared? And they said, nope, but we will be prepared. And everybody giggled and everybody laughed because it was so real. Take the mask off, be real. People aren't attracted to your perfection. They're attracted to your humanity, your realness. Okay. And then I was having another conversation. I was in it. And a guy was talking about his preferences of, he wants to find a wife, and he was giggling and laughing and talking about his preferences, and I'm not going to call him out. And myself and a few other people were laughing, and he was kind of, it was just a really, really funny conversation. And we were talking about the realness of dating, the realness of wanting a partner and preferences. And so we were laughing again, the realness, second conversation. Third conversation, we are complimenting somebody on their outfit. And they laugh and say, well, hey, even my undergarments match, because it was a whole old monochromatic outfit. And this person, I won't call her out, like it just chimed in on that. And we all died laughing. First one, she goes, but I won't show you. And it just struck me for the third time in the morning how real people are at this church. And so I hope wherever you go to church, wherever you call home, or if you have not gone to church in a little bit, go find yourself a real church, real people who are not trying to be perfect. To Sue, to Shane, to these people that I had these multiple conversations with that reminded me of our humanity, of me saying, I remember saying, hey, the first time it felt clunky, and then somebody was there that didn't, and so we were able to like kind of fix it, myself. I was asking for feedback, and that's another thing I want to teach you in this is fight through your imposter syndrome, but ask for feedback, and to also thank and encourage the places in which you get to serve, right? And think about this week, your heavenly job title, make a list. What is it? Walk in it and in all your glory. And so, and the last piece of advice is, if you've been out of church or you need somebody to pray for you, I will be that person for you. I will pray with you, because I was just reminded of the goodness of people, the realness of people, the inappropriateness. And I was reminded that I too, with my anxiety and my overthinking, that I'm not alone. There are other people that overthink things, that say things that probably go, I probably shouldn't have said that, or that was funny, or that was silly, or why did I say that? And it just reminded me of my own humanity. And Pastor Kara, in her goodness of going to get somebody who had, made a mistake, lost their keys at the nth degree, at the last moment, just showed me her humanity and her servanthood and her servant heart, when she could have easily said, I'm too busy. So I hope all of this blessed you. And then lastly, really lastly, you know me, really lastly, I hope that story with Chris blessed you, because I made a tweet this morning and it said, I could call coaches all day long. And I do call coaches. I message coaches. I remind them. I ask them, can I come? But when a player says it unprompted, says what you did in my life, remembers it, and I'm a relationship builder. I'm not a speaker. The talk is just the beginning. And for some of them, I'll go to their weddings. I'll see their babies be born. I'm a lifer. And when you hear that from a player and they send it to you and nobody asked them to do it, they just do it on their own. Man, to me, that is greater than getting $1 million check, because I'll never know his family. I don't think I'll ever meet his dad. Maybe I will one day, but I'll never know the tentacles and the people that affected. And I remember about 6-8 months ago, I made a video. There's another picture of us that's just taken from behind. And I said, I don't have to tag you. It'll be completely fine. I can just keep it anonymous. Nobody will ever know it's you, because it's from the back. And he said, no, Rachel, tag me. I want to teach people about the power of forgiveness, what it can do in your life. Because like Miss Sue, it would have been easy to give his dad the world. No, you've been a deadbeat dad. No, you haven't been there. No, you've been incarcerated. It would have been easy for him to do that. But he decided to give his father, Jesus, a slice of Jesus. And that's all I can hope, in all my overthinking, in all my anxiety, in all my, in humanness, in my flesh, in all the ways I screw up. I hope that the thing that people see the most in me is Jesus. Happy tears, Sunday tears. So I love y'all. Thank you so much for loving me back. Thank you for letting me be vulnerable and be real. The link to this outfit will be in the notes. I do have an affiliate link. I never use it, but I will put it there because I'd be stupid not to. I literally have never made any money because it's not the thing that I do, but I will put that there. And secondarily, I want to say this. I put out a newsletter every Thursday, and it has had a supremely large, high open rate. And it's because it's people I've either spoken to or people that know me, or, it's like, and for the first 6 years, I did not put out and 6 or 7 years, I didn't put out a newsletter. And then when I did, it was sporadic. And then of I'm changing the narrative. And then when the book came out, I said, you know what, I probably need to get serious about this. And I did. If you have a business, or if you are any sort of brand, or your business, or if you've got a gift or a talent, get a newsletter. Please start a newsletter, and I can help you. I can give you any advice, but you need it, because social media can go down at any moment. And there's actually a big move away from social media, and you can get to your audience, your people, with a newsletter. So recently, I've been just doing a different format, because over the holidays, about 6 months back, we just took breaks, and I had a lot going on. Well, I'm back to Faithfully every Thursday doing it. So I have a little bit of a new format, and I started asking questions. I started asking people to share their joy with me, because we need joy with the world being as dark and as hard as it is. And this past week, like 10 people responded to me and shared their joy, and it blessed me back, and shared where they needed prayer. And I'm like, man, what a simple prompt could do in a newsletter for them to send me what they were joyful for, and what they needed prayer for. So here's the last takeaway, and that is, start a newsletter. And if you need help, I will help you. Make it uniquely yours. If you got a cleaning business, it don't have to be all about a cleaning business. You can put some cleaning tips, but talk about your life. Talk about the recipe that you're making. Talk about the book you're reading, what you just watched, what you're thinking about, what you're grateful for. I can help you. So this episode is chock full of a lot of stuff, but big time, it's about Journey Church, Pastor Kara, the amazing people, the real people at Journey Church, pushing through your imposter syndrome. And I'm just so dang grateful to be at this church for 9 years. 9 years at this church. I love y'all. Woo. I love y'all. I hope you have the best day. Thank you for listening to the Joy Starters podcast. The thing you can do for me right now is share this with 5 people, 25 people, 100. I'm just kidding. Share it in a group chat. Share it with one person. You can also like, subscribe, and share, so you know when it shows up in your podcast feed. I love you guys.